Hi crafty friends, Mary here. I'm back with my second card for Yellow in April, or hashtag Yellow in April. I recently uploaded a video where I created this card with this whippersnapper design stamp. And at the same time, I created another card with the same stamp, this one. I had started with a slightly larger die cut panel that I had piercing holes all the way around the perimeter. But I ended up die cutting it smaller with the same die that I used for this, the double crazy or wonky, I think it's called. Yeah, double wonky stitched die. It's the one that's half an inch smaller than an A2 size. And then what I did was, and I'll bring the die out. I took the larger one that is an A2 size one, and I took my A2 size folded card, and I positioned the die, and you could do this back, turn the card around and position your card, and your card is already cut. It may not necessarily be cut, but I position the card so that the top fold of the die is slightly above the fold of the card so that it doesn't cut the fold, so that what you end up is you'll end up getting the stitching mark all the way around, but you won't cut the fold. So you'll still have a folded card, but you'll end up getting the stitching marks on not only the front of the card, but a slight less pronounced stitching mark on the inside panel and the on both sides of the inside panels, depending on how your die cut machine works. My die cut machine had no problems. I have a big shot, and it had no problems going through with the two, the card itself, not without the top portions, obviously. So that's what I did. So I took the largest of the dies, the A2 one, and did that. So just make sure that when you run it through, you look through the behind and kind of, place it and maybe put a little tape to hold it in place so that it's not, so the fold line is just clear of that top die edge, so you don't end up cutting your card open. So what I did with this is I took the second smallest of this wonky double stitch die, and I cut a smaller panel, and I using alcohol markers, I colored the same flower that I used on the other card, and this time, instead of going with yellow and purple, I went with yellow and red because I wanted purple for the background of the color. I wanted a dark background. So pretty much the same. I went with, I stamped the flower 4 times, kind of on each corner, and I went and colored it. I used, once it was colored, I used my jelly roll to do some white highlight. I highlighted the little flowers in the middle white, and the little, on the buttons, I did a little white highlights in all the buttons. And then I used a die by Impression Obsession, this die by Anna, and I die cut the panel. Big Wishes, I die cut this directly from the panel, and then I die cut 3 other ones from just white cardstock, so I could raise the letters up. So kind of create a shadow. And then on the last layer, which is the layer that's colored, I placed them or glued them back in a little offset so that you can see the white of the bottom panel, so that it becomes a little visible, a little bit more visible. And then I sprayed the whole thing with a coat of clear, where is it? My clear shimmer, my Tattered Angels clear mist that I use for my, and then I added glossy accents to the letters. So there's a light coating of glossy accents. And then in the middle of the flowers, at least these two, because you can see the middle, I added stickles. I added Stardust stickles. This is the last one I have left. All the other ones are empty that I have. And then I took this panel and I mounted it on yellow cardstock, a very thin yellow cardstock, and went straight to the card base. And then on the card base, I just inked with I think it was fossilized umber. No, mustard seed. It was Distress's mustard seed. And that's it. I didn't do anything on the inside yet. But I probably will ghost stamp one of the flowers probably over on the corner. And I got another card with the same flower stamp. And it looks the same but different than the first card that I created with the same stamp. It's a really pretty flower. I really like it. So another stamp and another stamp and another card for yellow in April. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, take care.